are you aware of any microbiome research that we can actually use right now? I'm not aware.
I think there's some direct fed microbials out there that are showing to. I haven't seen all the data, so I can't say how the validity of the results, but improving feed intake or the improving survivability of pigs and so forth. Or that's kind of the anecdotal, I wouldn't say claim, but kind of the underlying premise for what they're doing.
Yes.
And then also, and so I think that there is some stuff out there that is beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
I think the microbiome work may have at least the products out there would probably have a better role to play within ABF's kind of flows or systems,
mm-hmm.
where there's no antibiotics ever. I think in conventional systems where there's still therapeutic use of antibiotics for the treatment and prevention of disease, I think there's less chance for the microbiome kind of to really step up and kind of take a leading role within manipulating whatever pig physiology we're after. So I think there's a few studies out there, but or a few places out there, but it depends on what we're trying to manipulate, what we're trying to improve. Like if we're trying to improve, say, growth rate. So one of my pet peeves with the industry is that the industry's been going around and say, oh, well, we've got product X, which is it's an alternative to antibiotics. Well, we've got to be very careful here. What's the context? What are we trying to replace?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you've seen a lot of this as well, but if the context is that we were trying to replace subtherapeutic antibiotics used for growth promotion, is where this whole antibiotic alternative stuff drove from, with the VFD coming in the late, in 2017 when it kicked in, is to get rid of subtherapeutic use for growth promotion. So if you're coming up with an alternative to antibiotics, the context needs to be, is it actually supporting growth? Because that's what we use subtherapeutics for, was to drive growth or maybe feed conversion a little bit. So if your product isn't driving growth or feed conversion, then you can't really say it's an alternative to antibiotics. Because if it is, then the only other option is you're saying it's a drug claim where it's having a therapeutic effect, and then we're not allowed to, you can't do that.
Oh, really?
And so I think if we're trying to find alternatives to subtherapeutic antibiotics, then we need to make sure that there's going to be a growth or a feed efficiency benefit, because that's the technology we're trying to replace.